a X&3 record can get you in, well, 4-3 in the end, but it's not a very good thing to bet on.
Looks like Uncle's guaranteeing a sub 2-hour seed. I hope that's true for these runners. And the first chest is just a pizza cart.
Yeah, not really the worst thing to see in the first chest, not the best thing to see, just kind of there. Now we approach the ever-important question, what weapon will Uncle have? We know it won't be a sword, but other than that, kind of up in the air.
I'm a troll. I usually say 10. I would like to see 10 bombs because that's the one that you have to be the most careful with.
Hammer is a very nice weapon to get off the bat.
Yeah, time to do a little ground and pound, shall we say.
It's probably the weapon that gives you the most progression right off the bat, because Hammer opens up a ton of stuff. We also get a bee in a bottle out of the chest here, so we can go check Sick Kid on our first trip to Kakariko.
Yeah, it looks like both runners got a 4 bomb drop as they walked in, so they don't have to worry about farming for bombs when they get to escape.
Yeah, getting the bomb drop right away is fantastic. It kind of takes away the whole guessing game of, am I going to find a bomb? Is my opponent going to find one and I don't? Are they going to get those 3 chests and not have to double dip escape and I have to? It's a very calming thing to find right off the bat like that.
Yeah, ironically enough, it's actually more calming from what I've seen to have the bombs than the boots, because even the most seasoned runners don't realize that back at escape you can bonk those walls.
Yep, and even the ones who do are so used to not having the boots for it that in the moment they end up using a bomb anyway, even if they know they can bonk into there.
It's led to some very interesting situations. A lot of good progression in the back escape, and you kind of wonder, wait, don't you know it's a bonk, Brock?
I do think one thing that I haven't seen at all in this tournament, although I'm sure it's happened, is first glove in the back of escape that someone had to come back for.
Actually, I think I did have one of those in one of my shifts. Let's just say the runners weren't too happy about it.
I'd imagine. Finalflame is using the pot strats on the guard here. Hammer hitbox is very small, so sometimes it's not a bad idea to take that more distant approach to killing it, so that you don't end up taking a bunch of damage trying to get in close.
Meanwhile, Zelda had a bottle in her chest. I don't know how that really fit, but eh.
Of all the things, it's probably one of the least weird ones that I've seen in there. So now they're making their way back up toward the sewers, where they've already got their key, so they got 4 chests left, have to find the map and 3 more items before they get to Sanctuary, or maybe the map will be in Sanctuary itself. But either way, they're going to be a few more chests, a little bit more of this pure execution segment that is the escape, before we get into the part where they can start opening up and going to wherever they want. I have actually been really enjoying seeing these starts going through escape, watching these runners all go through and handle this in their own way and see how they come out compared to their opponents, if I could speak.
Don't worry, we're both tired from either work or lack of sleep. Anyway, yeah, it's weird how things, especially with the different weapons you can get, it's how you have to manage what you do during the escape. with the hammer, it's not so bad. Just have to deal, like you said earlier, deal with the hitbox. But other weapons like the bombs, you gotta worry about making sure you have enough. The magic items, make sure you don't use up too much because some certain ones use more magic than others.
Yeah, I think with comparing this mode that we're playing in this tournament versus the spring tournament last year, this has been a lot more fun to watch these opening 6 or so minutes than last year. Just because it's not everyone doing the exact same thing. Everyone's got their own little quirks of how to handle the different weapons, how to handle bomb farming. It's been quite fun to watch.
And we got the shovel. Well, I dig it.
Definitely nice to find that early so you can route that in with the Kakariko check instead of having to awkwardly choose to go there when it's nothing else around.
Yep. Going back to your point about last year's tournament, one really big difference, of course, is the 100 or so sprites that we have for the tournament for this version. Right now, Finalflame is using the Sonic sprite, while DarkDyllon is using Esperterra from Final Fantasy VI.
Every one of these sprites that the sprite team has put together are fantastic. That's been another fun point, just watching all these different sprites that you don't see very often get played.
Yeah, they did some really good job with these. I remember throughout last year, I kept on asking for a Terra sprites, where Terra is the normal Terra was the main sprite, and then Esper Terra was the bunny sprite. They did it the other way around, but this is really cool. With Sonic, I don't remember what his bunny sprite was, but his armor progression eventually becomes full Chaos Emerald Sonic. Anyway, back to the game. Bushcrab drops bombs, which is good. And then, speaking of bombs, that's all that was at the Lumberjack Ledge.
Yep, both of these runners choosing to go up and check that Lumberjack Cave right away. I know, like, back during the fall tournament, it was pretty much the standard to go up here and check that. Over time, it's kind of worked its way into a more 50-50 thing. You'll see some people check it right away like this. You'll see others go check it later when they have boots. As a whole, though, getting the check out of the way, you at least know one bit of information about what items might be where. So it's never a bad idea to do.
Knowledge is power, as they say. So is money, because both Lost Woods items are sets of 50 rupees, which will help them get to pay the vendor. As well, apparently it's the first tier tree pulls arrows, but the second tier is 20 rupees. So another 80 rupees off the bat.
I believe that's actually flipped around where tier 1 is the rupees and tier 2 is the arrows, which is super valuable since you can farm tier 1 tree pull very quickly if you need money for Zora or anything.
I did not know that. I thought it depended on when you pulled it, as well as which enemies you kill. Good to know.
Yeah, it's kill 1 to 3 enemies and you get tier 1, kill 4 plus and take damage is tier 2, 4 plus and no damage is 3. And wow, this blinds hut.
Yes, we just got the fighter sword, the hook shots. See what's in this last chest, and it's gonna be a full heart.
Yeah, you won't see many runners complaining about a heart container at this early point in the game. But adding in a sword and hookshot off the bat like this is super, super nice.
Certainly helps without the boots. This is your, I guess you would call it the Mega Man X2 strike chain in terms of movements.
Meanwhile, in the well, we got another bottle at the start. That's our 3rd bottle already. Seems like safety isn't going to be a sticking point. Oh, there's a glove.
That's 2/3 of the way to Dark World.
Yep, and depending on these runners' comfort levels with dark rooms, they could currently go up to Death Mountain and clear out almost all of it in one little fell swoop.
Oh yeah, they're just a Titan's Smith away from getting the full full Death Mountain.
We get flippers in the chicken coop, so that puts even more into the logic. We got the Waterfall of Wishing and Hobo that are now areas these two could go for.
Yeah, no using the fake flippers to the left to go to that area early.
Flippers are one of those things that are required for so little, but you're still kind of happy to find nice and early. Oh, speaking of that Titan's Mid you were talking about.
Oh wow, that's just funny. We're just a boots away from getting all the limb upgrades.
That's a good point I hadn't considered. And we got a map check. We got Crystal 5 and Hera. I believe both the other dungeons were crystal pendants.
Yeah, I saw Desert as maybe the red pendant, but I didn't quite see Eastern.
Yeah, I just verified on the restream the blue pendant in Eastern, red pendant in Desert. So not the layout you want to see on a run.
So, race game was just your vanilla Pizza Heart, but DarkDyllon, he realizes he has a chef on him. He said, "Oh, might as well just walk to the grove and see what's there." And it's a cape.
Oh dear. Cape and sword early, missing a piece of Dark World access. You know, we have access to a ton of the world right now, so it's too early to even really be guessing Aghanim. But you never like to see an early cape and sword.
Does anybody smell Moon Pearl on Pyramid?
Now they're gonna head down to the South Shore checks here. Switching to hookshot to try to use the glitch where you can clip through a block by hookshotting as it moves. Gets it done for a heart piece.
Yeah, that clip makes this damn area a one cycle instead of a 2 cycle. And Finalflame didn't quite get it, unfortunately.
Yep, the timing on it is actually pretty tight since you only have the time it takes that block to move one space, and you gotta hit it just in time to get through it all the way in time.
Yeah, this is like a how many frames? 1 or 2 frame trick?
Not sure exactly. I know there's at least a reasonable window, but it's definitely on the smaller side where it's easy to make a mistake on. That mini Trolldorm was very good at dodging that hook shot.
I've got the book, a couple of 20s, another 20, and the ice rod.
Ice Rod early is always nice until you get to Dark World and see that T-Rock is that third pendant.
Is it usually like early ice rod equals pendant turtle rock?
It's definitely the go-to meme. Don't think there's any actual, solid backup to that, but it is the running joke that when you find Ice Rod without trouble, it's because T-Rock is nothing.
So a slight route divergence right now. DarkDyllon kind of looked like he was going to do the oval area, but it turns out he was using the swimming. Hopefully swimming faster than walking to the Ice Rock Cave and get this out of the way location. Well, Finalflame goes to the oval.
And there's bottle number 4. 1440 in, and we have all 4 bottles.
That is... I've never seen that before.
That's definitely approaching the fastest I've ever seen all the bottles. As a small note, Dylan swimming up to Ice Rod Cave, if you swim efficiently, it is actually faster to swim there. It's not by a whole lot, but it is faster and safer, so good call to go that route for it.
And we just saw a sword upgrade on the Lake Hylia Islands.
That'll be really, really easy to get, and they're almost both certain to get that, assuming they find Mir. Mir has been known to end up in GT at times, so they'll hope that they find it.
So far, nothing but trash for Hobo and the Waterfall Wishing. Neither runner has enough money for Zora, so they're probably just gonna check the ledge, which has a big tournament, and Finalflame decides to save it quick.
Yep, and I'm willing to bet that neither runner here is going to bet on the worst gamble you can make, and, you know, diving into Ice Palace right now. They don't even have Bombos or Fire Rod. I take that back. You can't even make that gamble.
They don't even have the Moon Pearl yet, so yeah, they can't even take that gamble at all.
Well, you can use a minor glitch to become Link in Ice Palace just by taking a death. So it is a gamble you can make pre-Moon Pearl. It's just almost universally never a good idea.
Yeah, especially this early with only 6 hearts and not that much equipment, and fighter sword to fight all these enemies. Yeah, that's not gonna be fun.
Meanwhile, making a far more reasonable play of going over to Agina's cave and then probably going to dip into the desert with that book, see what's going on. Dylan is looking to be heading over to the Eastern Palace area first instead.
Both decent enough plays. I just think Dylan just has more. If he dips into Eastern, he might have a few more items to look up.
Yeah, the benefit of Dylan's play is that if the boots are over here, he might be able to clear more of desert if it's boots locked. But if it's not boots locked, then early book can definitely be screaming to go to desert ASAP.
So Hasra seems to didn't really hide much in his closet, just the red ring.
Yep, just everyone's favorite laggy boomerang. Interestingly, Dylan is going to save and quit out. He's not going to dip into Eastern Palace while he's over here. I feel like Eastern being a Spear 1 location where you can get to as soon as you start the game, it's almost universally a good idea to dip in there if you're over at Sasral's place anyway. It very rarely is going to pay off to not go in there. Also, Desert is not boots locked.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of question that lack of going into Eastern. As you said, it is Sphere 1. You can get everything. You can get nearly everything there. Well, besides not having a lamp, but I guess DarkDyllon wants to go for the place out of March Chest, which would be Death Mountain, even though this would be considered a sequence break.
Yeah, it's a sequence break, but there are enough items up here, and it's either going to point you to where the flute or lamp are at, or it's going to not have anything of worth and not really cause issues from sequence breaking. Old man going on that nothing of worth train, getting 5 rupees. And there's the Moon Pearl in Desert.
Wow, Finalflame made the play. That you don't know how long it's gonna take for DarkDyllon to go to Desert to get that Moon Pearl.
Yep, and he gets the added benefit of the first time he goes up to Death Mountain, he can wipe out everything except for this blue boomerang on top of Spectacle Rock in one smooth trip.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna go after that boomerang at all.
Dark World map check, we got green pendant at Ice Palace and our other red crystal at Pod. So ice is our hopefully you don't have to go in dungeon this run.
Yeah, it's a very annoying dungeon to route, especially when you're not invulnerable and DarkDyllon just took a death. Ouch.
Yeah, Death Mountain can be pretty scary with low health. Those boulders do a lot of damage to you if you're a little bit unlucky and don't have a chance to dodge. Hype Cave, meanwhile, being the opposite of Hype.
Yeah, that looked like a tripe cave to me.
The 300 rupees might have been nice before they made the trip up to the Zora area. Now that they really don't want to have to go all the way back there, not the best thing to find.
Yeah, agreed. They'll probably route the Zora in with Catfish whenever that happens.
Now, on the bright side of this play by DarkDyllon, we might see the reason why Super Bunny Cave is called Super Bunny Cave.
Oh right, that little minor glitch to be able to use items and affect the environments while in the bunny state.
An ether medallion and a blue shirt over on the Paradox Cave middle/bottom segment.
More like a blue fur dye in this case for Terra.
Very true. You also find the single arrow and 50 bucks, so nothing much going on down here. Quiver upgrade, bombs, another quiver upgrade. So, East Death Mountain so far, nothing much interesting. I'm curious if Dylan is going to dip into Tower of Hera while up here.
That would be a sound plan, even though he doesn't have a fire source, just in case the item is in the basement. Or sorry, the big key's in the basement.
And props for making the play a lot of us don't when we miss the bomb jump, and going the quicker route and just walking around instead of going back up for the bomb jump again.
Yeah, it takes more time if after missing subsequent bomb jumps, so you might as well just take the long route.
And just 50 bucks on the floating island, so probably no one going to be coming back for that anytime.
As well, Finalflame not really finding anything in the Village of Outcasts so far.
Continuing to not really find anything in the Village of Outcasts.
So he'll check out the Thieves' Town, see if there's anything there. Almost getting trolled by one of the ghosts.
We did find the small key in the basement of Hera, so we're hoping this is the big key to avoid coffee break time. Nope, it's Quake, so Dylan is going to have to come back later with a fire source and take his coffee break.
Yep, except he'll probably need another coffee break after Ether Tablet because we're going to Spiral Cave and without the boots.
Everyone's favorite cave to walk through without boots. And Thieves Town so far continuing this trend of Dark World not really having anything going on for it.
Yeah, the thieves are slacking right now. This is all they have in their den.
Yep, it'll be interesting to see what's in the back here, because if not Thieves Town, you're looking at probably either Pot or Skull Woods at this point have some type of progression.
Or worse, well, I was about to say Ice Palace, but again, we don't have a fire source.
And Finalflame taking a moment to stun the Stalfos and use it to figure out what the stun prize is, learning that it's hearts that drop when you stun your enemies. So that's a nice benefit. Dylan still avoiding Desert Palace, looking to go back over to Eastern Palace.
Was there anything in Spiral Cave? If there wasn't, that Death Mountain dip really was lacking.
Yeah, there was nothing worth noting there.
Are we gonna have all the progression in Pendant Dungeons this seed?
That or maybe a, go mode lamp super late that gets you up Death Mountain to get to T-Rock, and, that's the end of it.
Finalflame having a little trouble with those grasshoppers. They surprisingly, despite being the Dark World equivalent of the rats, they do a lot of damage.
They do a lot of damage. I think it's 2 hearts on green mail, and they can eat you up very quickly in that, especially in that bombable ceiling room. Now, I have not been counting items in Eastern. I know I've seen at least 2 of them, so there's not Eastern, in Thieves Town. So there's not a whole lot left to find here.
Nah, you're right. It doesn't. I don't think there really was much so far. Well, in the maiden's chest, we'll just steal her hearts.
So I think that makes 2 heart containers and 20 rupees that I know I saw. I can't remember if we saw another item or not. Judging by this move over to the big chest, though, it seems like there is still one out there in the open.
Yeah, if it's gonna be anywhere, it's gonna be on Blind himself, because that was just the Nacho plate.
And nothing going on in Eastern either so far, so the original play to not jump in here may have been the right one, and the decision to go back may have been the wrong one.
Yeah, it's definitely not gonna be the weapon Eastern, since we didn't see it just yet. It's not gonna be behind the Dark World.
Finalflame switching to the cape to play it safe here on Blind. Blind is a tough boss if it goes off of the script that you can keep it on, because it gets very hectic here in Phase 3.
Yeah, Finalflame opted to use his green goo to finish off Blind, and unfortunately it was just Pizza Heart that Blind had, so not a whole lot of progression in Thieves Town so far. Or rather, at all.
Yeah, we've been pretty much stagnated since we found those flippers way back in Kakariko.
Yeah, this looks to be a dungeon progression seed at this point, in terms of items, where items will be.
Dylan does appear to be making the play over to Desert Palace, so we'll be getting his Moon Pearl soon. All this being done, he does have a lot of checks over Finalflame in the light world. Finalflame now has a lot of checks over him in the dark world. So it'll be a while before those start to balance out and we can really, again, get a feel for who's kind of checked the most stuff easily.
Yeah, hopefully, even though there are only 2 items, hopefully Skull Woods will have something here to help the runners. This has been pretty item-starved since the start, since they left Kakariko.
Yeah, a couple of versions ago, Skull Woods was known as Value Woods. It doesn't really hold up to that name these days, but there are those times where it shows up pretty often. Or not pretty often, pretty well in terms of the items is what I was going for.
Oh, I understood what you said.
Going to try the bomb jump back here. You don't have a whole lot of room. It's not as punishing as the one in Hera if you miss, since you just go back to the door, not downstairs. Gets it on the second try for another heart container.
Which is kind of useful, but he's kind of also low on hearts, so I would think that it'd be better to do a death warp just to replenish your health.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. It looks like he's going to be stunning some enemies, getting the heart refills from the stun prize here. Well, one of them at least. Now on to everyone's least favorite room, the Gibdo room here.
Yeah, Green Mail, Fighter Sword, no Canis Samaria, also that Walmart Master looming ahead. Not a fun room to deal with.
Yeah, probably the best way available to Final to deal with this is to just use that ice rod he's got, freeze them, and that way there you can move the statue in peace before they unfreeze. But that also lags the game quite a bit, so some people do try to avoid it. That's it, between these Gibdos and this Wall Master, he is definitely getting blocked many times. He's finally made it up with the statue here.
You know, you'd think that Sonic was a little faster at these things.
And the last chest we have access to is just a small key, so Skull Woods also is not the value. So from here, you could leave and go check Bumper Cave. Looks like he has decided, don't want to walk back, I'm just going to save him quick, go somewhere else.
Actually, he checked Bumper Cave, it was just a Pizza Hut.
Ah, I missed that part. My bad.
No worries.
So now it looks like Finalflame is going to be making his trip up to Disappointment Mountain. He has the advantage of he can go to the Dark World side of East Death Mountain and maybe get some value out of that. We know that the vast majority of the time Finalflame spends up here is going to be rewarded with nothing whatsoever, except for a couple of medallions. But if he does make that plane to the Dark World Death Mountain, he may find something of value.
You know, based on the routing, I'm beginning to wonder if either the flute or the lamp is on Zora, considering that the Death Mountain play is a sequence break.
That's definitely one option. There's also Palace of Darkness that hasn't been touched and Catfish over on the east side of Dark World that could be where progression's at.
Or worst comes to worst, Swamp Palace, even though it has 6 items.
Well, they can't get in there without the mirror, so that's still locked to them even.
Yeah, I kind of forgot that part.
Kind of running over the mental list of locations here, and I think Pod and Catfish are actually the only two things left in logic that haven't been checked.
And Zora, since they do have the money for it.
Yep, I forgot Zora even though we just talked about it. Because I just mentally write off Zora as a ripoff the moment he skipped once.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, he usually is a life or love lesson more than progression. Also, we do have the Smith's side quest to do. At least most of it.
And that's very true. As annoying as it is to do those without the mirror, they could very well hold something important.
I don't quite remember, but did Finalflame do check Stumpy when he was routing from Hype Cave to Village of Outcasts?
Yeah, I believe it was 5 rupee on Stumpy, I want to say.
To answer your question, chat, no, Dylan didn't have the Moon Pearl to do Dark Death Mountain, so he only did the light side, which came up with just the blue mail and a couple of medallions.
Dylan about to be, or not Dylan, Finalflame about to be sorely disappointed just as Dylan was when he walks into Hera and finds out it's basement locked.
Which might be a good thing, because if they do Hera last, then they're right at the doorstep of Ganon's Tower.
That's true, but it also opens up the door to, like, the fire rod is in the upstairs of Hera, and you were supposed to have the lamp before you came up here, and then it's just sadness in the end.
Yeah, that would be infinite sadness. Oh wait, that's profound sadness. I got my Street Fighter codes mixed up.
So I've got to assume Dylan is likely going to be routing down toward Village of Outcasts, since he did not check that on the way and he went straight to Skull Woods.
Yep, Thieves Town, Village of Outcasts, maybe check the Smiths afterwards?
Yeah, one advantage to Dylan's route here is that he could grab the blacksmith, take it on a world tour, and then bring it back after the save and quit a little bit smoother than it would have been for Finalflame. Final is about to show us some new information. Is there anything of worth on Death Mountain?
Yeah, with Skullwoods being bone dry and the thieves not doing a really good job at stealing, this better have something.
I would be amused if they get the bow up here and then they go to Pod, and the first chest of Pod was the lamp.
That would be mean. Then again, they could all, if it isn't, if they don't even get the ball, they can still use the bottle glitch. But I believe Finalflame used up the bottle, his bottle of green goo.
Yeah, he does still have at least a blue goo bottle. Or, yeah, he should have gotten the blue goo bottle up here on Death Mountain, if I recall.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Or no, wait, that was Ice Rock Cave, which he did skip.
Oh right, he only has 3 bottles. Anyway, Super Bunny Cave, not having anything so far.
Yep, we are 4 chests away from legitimately probably the worst Death Mountain I've ever seen.
We are at least getting the medallion check, which is vanilla Quake for TR, so we can enter, we do have the medallion for Turtle Rock.
Yes, there was some value on Death Mountain, that Quake medallion in Tower of Hera. Heart container in the first chest of Hookshot Cave. Okay, there's something. And another something.
Lamp and Argentum arrows. Perfect. So now Finalflame doesn't have to deal with the dark rooms that will be coming up for Pod and Meyer and Turtle Rock.
Yep, and with that lamp being found on Death Mountain, it means that that was a sequence break of the flute. So that severely limits the places that the flute could be.
Yep, it's either gonna be Pod, Quakefish, or Zora.
Or Blacksmith Chain.
Yep.
But yeah, it's always kind of nice to find the lamp on Death Mountain, because then you know, okay, we've got a sequence break of the flute, we know it can't be behind any dark rooms. It lets you limit the locations a whole lot pretty quickly.
So Finalflame looks like he's gonna check Pyramid first, and then maybe Quakefish. And he has a 50-50 check, so I have to go to Quakefish or Pod. I don't know. Would I go for the one-off or would I go for the area with more progression items, possible progression items?
Yeah, the rough part with Pod is it could be bow locked after the first chest, and again, you could use the bottle glitch, but anything more than that would be out of logic, wouldn't really be what you're looking for, necessarily. So Quakefish is kind of the safer play in some ways, but looks like he's going to be making the play down to Pod for that density.
Yeah, in this case, I'm not really liking Quakefish without the mirror if you have Zora left over.
Yeah, it would definitely put Zora off on its own, where you may never find a good time to get back there.
Yeah, routing that isn't very fun. Routing to either Quakefish or Zora's by themselves is never fun.
Here's everybody's buddy, Kiki the monkey, who knows just the right switch to hit to open the door to Pod. You know, the one that's not already pressed.
Unfortunately, Finalflame lost 10 rupees on the deal after getting hits. That kind of sucked.
I really feel like Link could figure this out.
So we're here in Dark Palace. It better be a treasure pod today, or it's gonna be really bad for these runners.
Okay, well, at least it's not bow locked. If it had been bow locked, the locations they had left to him were going to get real low.
Maybe a bow in the back areas of pod. I've seen that in a couple races recently.
That's always one of the fun moments as like a viewer to see them have to deal with that, but as a runner, it's just why? Why would you do this to me, game? You get an early big key, so that's somewhat nice to have. You can maybe deduce what this vanilla big key chest has. Well, with the key,
Hopefully.
not so much.
Question chat, which commentator is which? The tired one, aka me, is Save UX.
Yep, and I'm the other one, Mentos.
Yeah, Mentos is feeling a little more fresh.
Okay, now here's the location that I completely forgot existed for a while, the Hammer Pegs.
I usually add that in with the Smith's chain when I say that.
And much like most of the other locations in this run so far, nothing.
Speaking of nothing, only a burrito in the big chest in the pod, and the nacho plate, which means Helmsor has an item. Or maybe has an item, because he could possibly have a key. I'm not completely sure about that.
Helmasaur can never hold a key, no. That said, Finalflame is going to get a bit of sadness here, because he did not have a spare key to get out of the Dark Maze with.
Yeah, that hammer. It was a good idea to do the hammer jump, but not having a key, he has to take a death ward.
Yep, it's one of those easy things to forget. You see the early big key, you're like, well, it's going to be more convenient throughout right up to the big chest. But if you don't have that key, then it just gets kind of trapped for a while. And we only have one more chest in pod that's in logic, which is the one right between the Harmless Hellway and the basement chest. If it's not an item, everything else is a sequence break of the flute.
Unless that chest happened to be the flute, which would be completely and utterly me. Then Finalflame, not happy about that door, he just throws a bomb at it.
Okay, so pod was not the answer, logically speaking.
Depends, there could be something at the Harmless Hellway.
True. But now with that shield there, I believe that means that Harmless Hellway has to be a key.
Unfortunately, it might not be. Nope, it's not a key, it's a 5-pump upgrade. So, unfortunately, Dark Palace wasn't Mullen Mansion so far. It seems like Mullen Mansion being business in the front, party in the back. Felt more like Crew Cut Castle. All business, no party.
Well played, sir. I'll give you that one. So now off to the vanilla big key chest, the last chest Finalflame can check in here. Crossing his fingers that it's something. And Dylan is making the play up to Catfish in the meantime. Well, I mean it was something. It wasn't nothing.
Ouch, this seed just really got stingy. There better be something at Quickfish or we're going nowhere.
Yeah, this is one of the biggest bottlenecks I've ever seen a seed push runners through. That frog is going for a nice little tour, though. He's gotten to see the whole world.
Ooh.
I mean, that's kind of mean, because that opens up Turtle Rock. Not logically, but practically speaking, they can get in TR now.
But yeah, that's gotta be Kane, and yeah, I don't think they want to see that Kane at all. You're right.
Of all the places progression could open for them, it's Turtle Rock. So now Smiths or Purple Chest have to be something. There's no option here, they have to be.
If there isn't, we're gonna need to put up another coffee pot.
I just really don't want these two to have to go back to Zora. So I'm just gonna assume that one of these has something. But it's not the Smiths. Now, Dylan saving and quitting and going to the mountain. He does not know that that Death Mountain is a sequence break of the flute. As far as he knows, it could be the lamp. So he's headed up to Dark Death Mountain, which could have which we know doesn't have anything, but he could make that dip into TR and see what's going on in there.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility, though he's not. I don't know if he's really gonna like it at all.
Yeah, it's definitely a risky play because you might get locked out after one chest without the fire rod, but the fire rod can also be on Laser Bridge if the logic wants to be really mean.
Yeah, and then the big key, the turtle rock. Oh, right. With what you said, you can't have the turtle rock big key in the fire rod room, but you could have fire rod in the mimic's cave, I guess.
He's at least making a point to enter up here at the top of the dungeon, so he may be thinking of diving in here if it was openable. I gotta say though, I'm just looking at the time, we're almost 52 minutes in, and we still need a bow, we still need a fire rod, we still need a mirror, we still need a flute, we still need a lot of stuff to even start clearing out more than the one dungeon we have done.
Yeah, that uncle's prediction of a sub 2-hour seed, yeah, not happening today.
And with that big key in the first chest, TR is a bust. They need fire rod to progress in it.
If it was the other key, a small key would have worked, but no, not the big key.
So, is the bet on Zora or Purple Chest?
For DarkDyllon, which one would be the more convenient to route? For Finalflame, he might have an easier time with this decision.
Yeah, you could grab the Smith, walk it back to Kakariko, go right back to Dark World, grab the Purple Chest, walk that down. And then if that didn't work out, go to Zora afterwards. So for him, routing-wise, that's probably the best one to bet on first. For Dylan, I'm not so sure.
Maybe Finalflame will do the Smith's tour while DarkDyllon will do the Zora check and will make it easier on both of us.
To answer a little bit of back and forth in chat, Death Mountain as a whole is not in logic currently, so Spike Cave is not going to be where the flute is at.
There might be other items, but not the flute. Speaking of Spike Cave, that's where DarkDyllon is going.
Finalflame saying, you know, I don't really need this money, but who's just going to leave this $100 laying on the ground?
Well, that rupee bag of theirs must be really heavy, because, there's no bag in this thing compared to, say, Majora's Mask.
So Finalflame is going to get his blacksmith check done. and then we'll have to decide. Oh, Dylan. Oh.
Oh, he did that. He was a little too slow on the energy refill there. That was not very good.
So I'm gonna point this out, Dylan. If you're watching this back later, this is something that would have been useful in that situation. The tile immediately behind all the torches is not covered in spikes. So if you do need to use a bottle, you want to walk behind one of the torches and just kind of stand there to use it, and you're safe from damage that way. That way there you don't get kind of that exact situation coming up.
Otherwise, you should be using that potion when you have 2 hearts left, not 1 heart.
And Finalflame is headed back north. I got to assume going back Dark World to go do Purple Chest next. So this could be the moment. The good thing is when it comes to bottlenecks like this, kind of mid-game, you tend to get the rest of the items a little bit quicker. You spend less time searching for that last item, usually.
Yeah, there's spots you can go to just the window, so you don't have to think about it. You just do it. Meanwhile, Dylan was trying to take a coffee break in Kara, but he was denied. Nah, that doesn't mean.
Yep, with that lamp from Hookshot Cave, he can now complete the dungeon. Doesn't get his nice little break time, but we'll be able to clear this out while he's up here. Well, looks like we're going to pay Zora a visit after all.
Yep, Finalflame. What do you get? Pizza fart? Or did you get Sank heart? I didn't quite see which part you got.
Yeah, that was a piece of heart. And Zora could have any number of things that either open up the path to the flute or are the flute. But whatever it is that Zora has, they could have had this about 35 minutes ago.
Yeah, this scene was so stingy at the start. It's really funny. Or rather, it was so stingy after Kakariko Village.
And I forgot Finalflame, having not checked Ice Rod Cave, is going to come up here. He'll get his 4th bottle. Which, incidentally, may be one of the longest turnarounds between one player getting 4 bottles and the other that I've ever seen, at about 44 minutes.
To be fair, it was at a one-off location in the Ice Rock Cave.
Very true. Just usually when all 4 of the bottles are gotten, it's usually because they're, right in the way. So it's rare to see one that can just slip by for so long.
Meanwhile, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, what are we gonna get on Zora here? A fire rod, a bow, some boots, a mirror, some powder, a flute.
Whatever is the trolliest. I mean, considering that he's usually trolling with his life or love lesson, it's probably going to be a trolling item as well. And which most likely, what would that be? The fire rod, I guess?
probably one of the worst ones. Dylan entering into the Moldorm fight here. Hey, look at that.
Yes, fire rod, and I guess I better run because you guys are gonna burn the witch. Laters.
So now he can do that Turtle Rock sequence break and full clear the dungeon after he stops a catfish to get his red cane. That is also open the back of Skull Woods and Ice Palace, which, I mean, back of Skull Woods not so bad. Ice Palace, not what you were hoping to open.
So I believe we only have one item in Skull Woods. Hopefully it's the mirror. Well, I was about to say that before Finalflame decides to just check pet first and be done with it.
Here's everyone's favorite moment in chat, the ped check, finding out if this is an evil seed that wants them to do all dungeons, or a nice one that's like, you know, you can get by with 7 of them, maybe 8. Oh
God.
my god. Wow.
Okay. 4 flip. 7 shifts altogether with commentary and tracking and like get my pedals to sleep right now. Oh man.
At least you had a little bit more time to prepare. First seed I ever had to call was a GT Big Key on pedestal, so that was an adventure. But wow, mirror of all things on the pedestal. That is... I mean, on the bright side, you might not have to do Swamp out of Go mode.
Unless there's something on Mimic, which would be incredibly trolly as hell.
Oh, you are far more evil than I am. So, Finalflame now armed with the knowledge that at some point in this run he has to kill all 10 bosses. We'll see if and when Dylan makes that same check. He's currently heading into Pod, going to clear out what he can from here. So let's see, what do they need particularly to get that mirror? They really just need to find the bow. Ice Palace is already full clearable. Desert was not boots locked if I recall. And Eastern just needs the bow to clear to begin with. So that should be all they need to get that pedestal.
Yeah, that sounds about right, because the first time they both went to Desert, they didn't have one.
The bright side of that pedestal seed there is the fact that they have 2 out of 3 of their pendants are pretty easy and quick clears. Having to do ice isn't the greatest thing, but Eastern and Desert, they're gonna blow right through them.
Optimally, hopefully they will get all the other progression items besides the mirror before they head into Ice Palace, so they can just full clear the Ice Palace. Just do the NMG strats.
Yeah, and in theory, since we know where Kane is at, they should, because Eastern requires the lamp, which means they should have access to the flute before clearing Eastern. Bow is also required by Eastern, and those 2 plus the mirror are Go mode.
Alright, Finalflame had a very clean moth fight, but unfortunately he has to go back and get that last chest in the bottom that we just see right now.
Yeah, that was a very good fight, and the last item being there is always awful. It's an awful feeling. one thing brought up that I did forget that could be the potential for that mirror not being go mode is if Misery Mire requires bombos.
And then say Bombos was again that Mimic Cave.
You really want that bombos at Mimic Cave, don't you?
I'm a troll. I have to think of the trolliest things possible.
Well, then I'll one-up you and say put Bow on Laser Bridge.
Yeah, that would be pretty bad. Or it could be one of the fetch quests to one of those items.
Finalflame coming over here to the potion shop. I'm guessing this means that he is prepared to make his inevitable dive into Ice Palace. Offering the witches his 2 golden friends. Trying to think through the logical angle of this seed and what it wanted you to do. I mean, if you routed it exactly how the logic wanted you to do it, it would probably be a decent seed for a pedestal seed. But if you route it like any normal player does, it turns into what we're seeing here with massive bottlenecks.
Massive bottlenecks, even though they have all the bottles. Yeah. To answer a question in chat, why Finalflame is going to ice instead of desert? Desert, they already got all the items, so whatever progression is left is an ice palace.
Yep, there was the Moon Pearl, and I want to say a big 20 before it over there. So Finalflame knows he needs to do it at some point to get that mirror, but it's not going to help him move forward. It's just something he needs to do eventually.
Though Ice Palace with Fighter Sword and Blue Mail. Oh, there's our flutes!
Hey, we knew it was coming at some point. Dylan is making his play up to visit King Ripoff himself, who ripped you off in the worst way today by stealing your time when you assumed that he was going to rip you off.
Yep, and unfortunately, because he doesn't have the knowledge that the pedestal is required this seed, he's not gonna dip into Ice Palace.
I feel like he probably will dip in there just because he's running out of locations where that fluke could be. So it's pretty much one of his only options, other than Purple Chest, I think is the only other one he has. So I would think he would dip in there, but he may not complete it, and that's the big issue for him.
Looks like he might be doing the purple chest play right now.
He may also be doing the Skull Woods play, going, nope, nope, he's going right. Finalflame having a little bit of trouble with the bomb jump here. I'm not familiar enough with the Sonic sprite to be able to tell how close he is to properly lined up.
I think his issue is that I think he uses the sword as his marker to see where the bomb jump is supposed to be, but he's using a fighter sword, which is a pixel smaller than the other swords in the game.
Yep, and unfortunately for him, having not been to Catfish yet, he doesn't have that cane of Samaria. So there's no guarantee this dungeon is clearable without the bomb jump.
That is also true. It looks like he was about to decide to try to do it the normal way, but decided to go back to power jumping again.
Pulling out another potion here to go ahead and give himself some more room to work with, but getting low on bombs. There we go.
Yeah, that bomb jump was really rough on him. I think that, yeah, using a sword is a good idea, but not when you're not used to using fighter sword.
Yeah, it definitely throws you off a bit. Also, interesting note, Dylan has made the Skull Woods play, but didn't check the pedestal first. And unfortunately for him, the item that would let him check the pedestal at the end is, kind of tied up at the moment.
Yeah, it's kinda stuck. Like something has stabbed it down in place.
And to answer one thing in chat real quick, Ice Pals can require Cane of Samaria to clear. So if you don't have the Cane of Samaria and you don't bomb jump, you're pretty much putting yourself in a position where you may not be able to get through the dungeon. So a force to get through there, even if it takes a lot of tries, can honestly save you more time than it would take to come back later.
Yeah, normally in the vanilla game, the Cane of Samaria is actually not required, but it'll mean a longer dip into Ice Palace. Here, because of the key placement, that's where the Cane of Samaria might be required.
Dylan moving on towards his moth fight. We'll see how well he can knock that out, and then where he goes afterwards. I'd say the big concern on Dylan's side is if he goes to Ice Palace looking for the flute, finds it in that first chest, and leaves, he'll probably head up to T-Rock at that point. He knows that it's openable, he has access with Fire Rod now, and could be lost looking for that mirror for quite some time.
You could say if he does that, he'll be reflecting on where its position will be.
That hits too close to home from when In the Name of DT said that Sahasrara was reflecting on one of my seeds earlier in this tournament, and then Green Pendant Trinex had, or Green Pendant from Trinex had the mirror. That one just hit so close to home. Dylan is working on Fire Rod strats here on Mothula. And gets him down. Not bad at all. Fire Rod is a little bit slower than the hammer strats that you could use, but it's generally a lot safer.
Yeah, especially when you have to dodge all those spikes on the conveyor belts. Though it has, because the moth has a bad tendency to stay at the top of the screen, the fire rod will also smack into the spikes, which will negate the damage.
Now, Finalflame is heading down to Cold Stare. Cold Stare with blue mail still hurts a lot. He still does 3 hearts of damage. And with nothing but a fighter sword, it is not an easy fight by any stretch of the imagination. And unfortunately for Finalflame, his magic is just barely not full. So he's gonna have to use another potion to break Cold Stare's shell.
Does he have a third one?
Yeah, he had the one from Ice Rod Cave and he bought 2.
Okay, good. But Fire Sword, oh, that's so not gonna be good.
Yeah, the plus side of needing to use that potion was he could use the Fire Rod to get some hits, which took down 2 of the puffs. That splash damage on the Fire Rod was huge for him in this fight.
But now he has to rely on hammer strats, which unfortunately, because of the hitbox, is going to be a lot harder.
Very true, but with 1 Cold Stare Puff better than with all 3 still alive. And Dylan choosing the T-Rock play while Death Mountain is still out of logic over Ice Palace, and there's the bow.
Ice Palace had the value, and I wonder what Sahasra will have.
And with that, we are, depending on the Misery Mire Medallion, we might be in no mode now.
Also, depending if the Gaddy's Tower big key is on the Bob's Torch.
The Nightmare situation.
And then Boots will be in Tile Room.
Now here's the terrible, terrible thing for Finalflame. With these items, he can go clear Eastern Palace, Desert Palace, and go pull his mirror from the pedestal. At which point he will still need the Cane of Samaria, which is sitting on Catfish, one of the worst locations in the game. So he's going to open up a lot of stuff with that mirror, and who knows when he'll get there.
Yeah, it's Catfish is one of the worst one-off locations in the game because it's at the far end. And again, it's a one-off. It's who knows if Final Flame will ever get to that area.
Looks like he's headed straight over to Desert to go clear that out, which I think makes sense. If he had the cane, I would expect him to check the Mire Medallion first to know if he needs anything other than the mirror to get what he needs to clear all the dungeons. But when he's still missing that cane, it's not like he is in that situation of I might be in go mode just yet. It's going to be interesting, though, how this is going to play out when it comes to Dylan's side, because he has that terrible location covered, but he needs to make a variety of plays that he doesn't have the information or required.
Unless he makes a sudden realization that, oh, there we have, oh, there's the Bombos at the Turtle Rock Big Key location. Interesting.
Okay, so at that point, excluding the possibility of Big Key on Torch, we know where everything we need to beat this game is.
You know, now I thought of something worse than Boots on Gadon's Tower Room. If the big key's on Torch, and that would be, again, the Mimic Cave.
Yeah, Boots on Mimic Cave would also be pretty awful.
Especially for DarkDyllon in this case, since he's gonna full clear Turtle Rock without the mirror, and it's gonna be such a long one-off location just to go back in here.
Yeah, that is one potential upside for Finalflame on that front, is he can't and he will not be going into TR without the mirror. So if boots are required in there, he will get them in one dip. It's 2 out of 3 of the Lammolas in the first attempt with the silver arrows.
And DarkDyllon took death on the single roller room. Luckily, he's not too far from the areas. It only lasts maybe like 30 seconds, but it's still not another death you want to take.
Yeah, of all the places to die in TR, in that room after taking the big key exit door, not the worst place, but not the best either. And here goes Finalflame off to Eastern to go finish up his pedestal dungeon clearing.
As well as check the green pendant with Sahasrara.
Yep, which in his mind could be that Cane of Samaria he wants so badly at this point.
But the Sahasrara item just completely blew 3 times over.
I'm just realizing now that for Finalflame, best case scenario is that Misery Mire requires Bombos. Because that means that both TR and Mire will be locked behind that Cane of Samaria, and he'll have one less dungeon he's gonna full clear before finding it.
Yeah, that would be true, though Swamp is still pretty long dungeon to full clear in that case. But yeah, then again, Meyer doesn't even really matter if it's go mode or full clear mode, it still takes roughly the same amount of time. Laser Bridge had the mushroom, so Dylan's gonna be off to a fetch quest.
Fetch quests are always fun, even when you can be pretty confident they're not going to have anything useful. Although finding out where a third sword is would be quite nice for these runners. Master Sword Ganon isn't the most fun thing in the world.
And wisely, Dylan decides to take the safety door before he tries to get the last chest, and probably gonna do the same before he goes to face Trinix. Take a death ward. And it looks like Trinix might have the last item in Turtle Rock, so incoming menu boss.
Yep, and minor thing that people might not think of in this situation, with that mushroom and the cane and no magic, he could use the fake powder glitch to powder an anti-fairy and get himself up to full health for this fight before going in. But it's a very fringe thing to be able to use that outside of Magic Bat.
This is true, though I think an NMG race a few weeks ago, somebody did just that in Ganon's Tower. They picked up the mushroom early and they used the fake powder glitch to fill up on health here before the Trolldom fight.
Oh, that's a clever little mix between the safety powder route of NMG and the no safety route that doesn't pick it up. Just go in the middle, pick up the mushroom, and fake it. And Finalflame is on his way to the pedestal to go retrieve his own reflection.
It's probably reflecting a very angry face when he saw that pedestal item.
Oh yeah, I'd imagine that it was probably one of the angrier faces that mirror has ever reflected.
I don't know if that's the worst I've seen for pedestal. A couple of the 2v2 races during the 2v2 shuffle tournament that happened around the same time. There were a couple of very trolly items that were on the pedestal that blocked bingo card widths for the teams.
And this Trinex fight over here has been very tense to watch. Gets it done, hammer Trinex, not an easy thing to do. Takes him out, and what's the reward gonna be here? just vanilla.
Yeah.
So now, where is Finalflame headed?
Is he heading northeast? Oh no, he's getting his master sword.
That makes sense. Jump right down there and get that as soon as possible. You have to be tired of being on the fighter sword an hour and 25 minutes in. Now, I have to assume he's just gonna dungeon dive at this point as long as he can.
Yep, though I'm still kind of surprised he's not checking Meyer just yet.
Yeah, I think I would definitely check it before going into Swamp at least. Pod, you've just got Helmasaur left anyway, and the Bowlock side that you need to do to get a key to begin with. So there's not really a loss going to Pod before checking, but you definitely want to check before Swamp to know what you need to complete the run.
Meanwhile, it looks like Dylan might be going after Purple Chest. Yes, he is.
Yep, which is going to put him in the right area for the play he needs to make. He just has to go a little bit to the east. Now, it is safe to say that Finalflame has a very sizable advantage right now. He's already pulled the pedestal, he's going to be working on his third crystal, which will tie, or only be one behind, what Dylan has. But he does not have that cane, and that's going to take him a while to find. Dylan doesn't know he needs the pedestal, so his decision in this early part of Ice Palace is going to be very important to how the rest of this plays out.
Hopefully on Finalflame's side, he doesn't decide to mirror after completing Pod. He'll go up to Catfish, but that seems very unlikely.
Yeah, it's a pretty slow trip to walk out of Pod. And when you feel like you're only one item from Go mode, doing that just for Catfish is a tough sell. Okay, and Dylan is making this play on Ice Palace now. This is what he needs to do.
And hopefully he'll full clear it and not just dip out once he gets the flutes, or he's in for a bigger world of hurt.
Yeah, the tough part for him is he doesn't know it's pedestal required, and he can full clear Meyer. So he could see that flute and be like, okay, it's Meyer time, let's go. And jump out to go take care of that next.
And he'd be missing out on the flute as well. I mean, sorry, not the flute, the bow, which would make the Vicious fights a lot faster, especially with the silvers.
Just gonna go ahead and bombos these Pengators for the nice and easy way to get rid of them. Okay, he's not piecing out after the flute. That is very good for Dylan.
I think he at least realizes that Ice Palace full clear, and because it's Green Pendant, it has to have something. Even though he still doesn't know it's a pedestal seed.
Yeah, and it is very tempting in this kind of situation to go for Meyer, and especially with that flute in the first chest where you don't lose a lot of time leaving. So I give some props for sticking this one out. It's definitely the right call for the seed, even though you can argue back and forth about what's the right call overall in this exact situation.
Yeah, it's really been hard to say what was exactly the right call besides maybe checking pedals early, because there just been so many weird things with this seed.
Hey, there's the best safety in the game.
Yep, everybody loves the powder.
So I gotta guess he's probably gonna be headed to Swamp now. He did mirror out a pod, so it's either gonna be Swamp or Hera. Okay, prove me wrong. Go to Meyer.
Not super surprising since he does need to find out whether the two of the three windows he has can open Meyer, and it didn't look like it actually.
Yeah, that looked like Bombos to me. Yeah, definitely Bombos. So that is a huge, huge benefit for Finalflame. As silly as it may sound, the fact that he can't take the time to dip into Meyer, unable to complete it, is going to save him a big chunk of change in terms of time, having to get that cane before he can get in there to begin with.
I just hope he will go to Catfish first before going to Hera, and I'm completely wrong, unfortunately. Maybe he'll just check Spike Cave, but I'm assuming Hera finished first.
Yeah, I can't blame him on this one. Swamp is a very slow dungeon. Most of the mirror unlocked overworld spots are slow. Catfish is slow. Hera is also kind of slow, but not as slow as those other things.
And even more unfortunate for him, well, he didn't check Spec Rock, so he's gonna get that out of the way. Unfortunately for him, Troll Dorm has the last item in Hera, and that again that adds to how slow Hera will be.
Good old Bari room there in Ice Palace, where, sometimes just sequence breaking with the bomb jump is actually faster than doing it the intended way.
All right, Final Flame is getting Ether. He can also check Bombo's tablet as well, since he has Mirror and Master Sword in book.
Very true, and if we still want to look out for more swords, which I know both of these runners do, Bombos could be the answer on that front. This is kind of an interesting situation to find yourself in an hour and a half into the race. From a viewing standpoint, though, you've got two runners with distinct advantages in terms of things that the other might not think to check for quite some time. And it's just kind of a race of which one finds the other's answer first.
Yeah, they're they really have to think hard about which one-off location they need to check.
And on that front, I'd give a little bit of an edge maybe to Dylan in terms of time it'll take to figure it out, just because he has less options available to him before he can. Well, not really, I guess. He's got Eastern, Pod, and Meyer he can still clear. Final has, after Hera, just Swamp in terms of dungeons, and then he'll be doing the overworld trek. Dylan using Bombos to break Cold Stare's shell gets one of the puffs down with the fire rod. Going to be using Master or Sword and Hammer strats for the last two. And final
He's
got.
opting. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, he's not opting to use his potion just yet and to get more fire rod shots in, though. Oh, never mind. He takes down the puff. He's gonna love seeing the D right there.
Yeah, the end of that was getting me a little bit nervous, given that Cold Stare does still do 3 hearts of damage in blue mail. So one mistake could have been the end of him on that.
Meanwhile, Finalflame took down Trolldor. He didn't have any issues.
Yep, Trolldorm is 0-2 today. Both these runners having very clean fights against them their first time up here.
And Finalflame is going to check Spike Cave and hopefully it won't have the same issues that DarkDyllon had earlier.
Yep, not going to be, the most excited with the reward from it, but, it'll be done. The very moment when you get Sankart right after Spike Cave, and you're like, oh, I guess I could leave now, but I don't really want to. Benefit is by saving and quitting out while you're healing, it actually continues to heal you into your new loaded save. And due to that extra bit of heal, Finalflame is going to be in a much better position entering Swamp than he would have been without Sankart there. Dylan is making his way back toward Kakariko. Could he be making a pet check? Oh no, activating Flute. That would make sense.
Yeah, he made a mistake. He made a mistake going to Dark World because I think he might also want to check what you think me pedestal as well, but no, he's going. Looks like he might be going to Meyer.
Now, Finalflame doing the Super Bomb here, he is never going to have a better opportunity to route on Catfish than right now. If he goes to Catfish right now, he is going to have a pretty substantial lead in this race, not just an advantage at that point.
Pyramid Fairy had a vanilla sword upgrade. That's pretty funny.
If that's great for him, and no, don't do it, Finalflame. Don't do it. Go to Catfish. My thoughts and prayers have reached him.
Hopefully that mirror was reflecting upon what he should really be doing.
So Dylan going to be heading into Misery Mire. Going to be full clearing it, looking for that mirror that we know is sitting on pedestal. And Finalflame will be in... Well, not Go mode, because he needs to go to TR for Bombos. And might need boots, but he's going to be on the right path. It'll just depend if he goes to Swamp or TR first, if he wastes time or not.
Okay, good. I was hoping that Finalflame didn't suddenly pull out the flute and warp somewhere else. He's going to do the full catfish check.
I would have been very sad if he had done that. Now, the moment of relief he's going to have on his face when he's like, I almost left this behind. Okay, so at this point, he can't get into Mire. He's got to clear Swamp, TR, and Mire after TR. And that's all he's got left. He's got everything he needs, or will get on the way everything he needs to beat the game. Dyllon, in a much tougher spot, still needs to complete Eastern Desert, complete Pod, then do Swamp and finish up this Mire dip. So I'd say at this point, Finalflame has a lead. It's going to depend on if he does a bunch of overworld checks looking for Bombos or if he dives TR, though.
It looks like he's going to the Haunted Grove Ledge, also apparently been called the Spooky Ledge right now.
It's a pretty good check if you're on your way into Swamp. It's right here. It's not too far out of the way. Well, we get some red mail and Mire, and there's sword number 4.
Yep, we got the Auric Blade to go with Argentum Arrows, so their offense is gonna, well, at least Finalflame's offense is gonna be fully stacked.
Yeah, I was kind of gonna say, adding the kind of Dyllon's misfortune, so to speak. Mirror is gonna be his go mode item, so the chances of him checking Pyramid Fairy are there. He might get tempered, but he almost certainly will not check Cave 45, Cave South of Haunted Grove, etc.
Meanwhile, Finalflame's defense kind of went down because he let a light take a shield.
I don't know, I feel like not having to carry around that heavy piece of plastic might actually make you a little bit better at dodging, so, you know, it might balance out. To answer this with a little bit of the description on the quote why, there's some map out there of caves in Link to the Past that has that cave marked as number 45. There aren't a whole lot of names for it that people can agree on are decent for it, so it just kind of stuck as the number.
I don't know, I thought Haunted Grove Ledge Cave was the best descriptor of that place.
That's usually my preferred descriptor of it. I usually try to at least reference it as Cave 45 in commentary just because that's what the spoiler logs listed as. So if people are trying to play at home and see, you know, Cave 45, they know what they're looking at.
Well, that's good to know. I kind of don't quite understand that using that descriptor, because if you don't have that specific map anyway.
So here in Swamp, Finalflame is going to spend a whole lot of time going through and clearing every chest. Maybe he'll get the boots, probably he'll get nothing.
Yeah, the Water Palace will not be swamped with good items today.
On the bright side for him, it is just, hey, there's a new shield. But on the bright side for him, while he's doing this, his opponent is full clearing Misery Mire, which isn't really strictly necessary. And both of those are, you know, not the most fun to full clear. I think you can get away with skipping a couple locations in Mire. I'm kind of curious where these boots might be at, though. Kind of always hope to find them, because otherwise you have that 1 in 22 chance that you get to GT, and it's not really all that worth. Dylan has a very nice Vitreous fight with those silver arrows. You pretty much just get to machine gun down those little eyeballs. Oh, there are the boots. I was just talking about those, and there they are on Vitreous. So both of these runners will have the boots for GT. We now cannot possibly run into a situation that we don't know how to get through.
Was that a pun?
It may have been, but if it was, it wasn't intentional. Final is almost assuredly going to be jumping right back into Swamp to go check the last few locations. Meanwhile, Dylan is taking advantage of those boots to go check a couple more locations that are not going to find him his mirror. Unfortunately for him, he has not made that pedestal check. Otherwise, he could pretty much just go mode everything remaining in this game right now.
Yeah, hopefully these fluctuate rock checks will send them all the way to pedestal, but it does not look like it.
Dylan going ahead to check Pod. Does have that one more item on Helmasaur. And after that, he's going to be getting low on places. He's going to be kind of forced into that pedestal play here soon. And there are some comments and chats about who's ahead or behind. Finalflame has a distinct advantage right now. It's hard to say it's a lead because he could choose to spend a lot of time going through overworld locations looking for that Bombos medallion. But if he goes to TR after Swamp, then it will be a pretty decided lead for him. There's also a chance that one of the things to keep an eye on here is whether Dylan checks Pyramid Fairy or not. He does have both crystals. He could go check it after he's done with Pod, before he figures out that, hey, maybe this is a pedestal seed, and that could get him his level 3 sword available, but he's not going to find that level 4 sword, so if he doesn't get that before finding the mirror, he might never get his 3rd sword, nonetheless 4th.
So meanwhile, Finalflame is going to check bombos, and he's not going to find a vanilla bombos, unfortunately.
Nope, but I'd assume after this, probably he's gonna have to head up to T-Rock if he wants to play it the safe route, so to speak. He is headed over here, though. Probably a magic bat check. It's a relatively quick check to jump in. And
Yeah, unfortunately for him, he's not going to find anything of any value. Well, maybe the Cane of Burna, but we'll see.
yeah, and this is kind of where what I meant with he could lose his advantage by spending a lot of time on these overworld checks. He has if he goes up to TR, it's good for him, but he has a lot of small little one-off locations he could check on the overworld. That if he does all those, it'll kind of build up. Now, I think the thing here is that Finalflame would like to put TR off until the final dungeon, only have to make one more trip up Death Mountain. But the past few versions, pretty much about V26, V27 onward, that's a very uncommon thing to get to do. If you're missing an item and you haven't checked T-Rock yet, your odds are pretty high to head up there. Putting it off, trying to save it for last, can be a huge, huge risk in these more recent versions of the logic.
Yeah, the tier, yeah, especially since the fall tournament, you've been seeing a lot of TRs that are in Turtle Rocks that have not been in the final dungeon of Garganon's Tower. And you're gonna see here again in this tournament. Finally, Dylan's gonna make that pet check. He's probably gonna have an angry face reflecting off that pedestal item.
Yep, and Final has saved and quit to the mountain. He is seeming to make the TR play. I would say this cements him with a lead. Not a huge one, but definitely a lead.
Yeah, it really depends on how fast he decides to go through Turtle Rock, which unfortunately is not really that fast in comparing Go mode to full clear mode.
Yeah, he's not going to lose a whole lot of time on T-Rock. Dylan has to clear Eastern Desert, go pull the pedestal, and then clear Swamp. And at some point, he's going to have to stop and pick up his Master Sword from Hylia Island. And with knowing that the mirror is on pedestal, and knowing where that one sword is, he's probably not going to check Pyramid Fairy. He's probably not going to check the Haunted Grove Ledge. So chances are he's going to be on Master Sword through the end of this.
Yeah, I don't doubt that Dylan's not gonna be too happy about that idea.
Yeah, Master Sword Ganon with silvers isn't as bad, especially when you've got all 4 bottles and you got the cape. But you would still much prefer to have those other sword upgrades, and those swords are going to save final time, especially on later stages.
Yeah, at the rate that Dylan's going, he's actually gonna get his next sword upgrade past the 2-hour mark.
And that just hurts. As someone who runs a lot of this game, the thought of getting Master Sword after 2 hours is... it's just sad. It hurts me inside.
I take it you don't run swordless mode?
Oh, I quite enjoy swordless mode, but if there are swords in the seed, I don't want to be on fighter sword the whole time.
Well, at least it wasn't that one seed where both runners didn't check Haunted Grove Ledge before going to Gargan's Tower and had to... turns out that the Master Sword was their home already.
That sounds entertaining from the viewing side of things.
And we got a quick kill on Armos' side. Kind of funny how the arrows miss one Armos but hit another. But it works.
Using the fire rod on the Pokey to get it down quicker, and the extra ball of the Pokey just decides, no, I'm not catching on fire. I'm gonna hit you. Hey, we got a riot shield. You can't get rid of that one.
Yeah, despite Finalflame's attempt to get rid of the shields, he's not gonna... he's gonna keep having one. Now, typically runners skip the big key chest into a rock. Do you think Finalflame is gonna do that in the next minute or so?
Outside of Go mode, I don't see all that many people skip it outside of Key Sanity. If he were in what he thought was Go mode, and we just knew for some reason that it wasn't, he would, but really no reason to skip it not in Go mode in a situation like this. With that medallion, Finalflame has everything he needs for sure to beat the game. He'll get the boots eventually. Dylan, meanwhile, has also for a little while now had all the knowledge needed to beat the game, but needs to get that ped pulled. This is probably going to end up pretty close by the time these two are done with their dungeons.
Yeah, for Finalflame, well, depend for DarkDyllon. Well, he still has 2 more dungeons to clear, so they both have 2 more dungeons to clear. One that they're almost done with those dungeons. The question becomes: will DarkDyllon full clear Swamp just to find a sword, or will he just to find another sword besides Master Sword, or will we just go mode it?
Yeah, I could definitely see maybe not doing left side, but at least checking a good chunk of the chest in Swamp looking for another sword. Because nobody really wants to be stuck with just Master Sword.
And I kind of forgot to check, but did Finalflame skip Minicave?
He did skip Mimic Cave. He realized he was in Go mode and just kind of went past it.
He's lucky that boots aren't virtuous in that case, because you never want to see be bootless for Gan's Tower and find out that the big key is on Bob's torch.
It's very true. That is a very sad moment anytime it happens. So now Dylan is going to get his mirror as Finalflame is approaching Laser Bridge, which will go quickly with the mirror shield. And he's going to head up for a much easier Trinex fight than Dylan had earlier. It's going to take 3 slashes to each head to kill the heads. Then he is going to leave T-Rock mirror head to Mire as Dylan is going into Swamp, since he'll probably go grab that Master Sword before heading in there. Now the other scary thought is if Dylan may have forgotten that there is a Master Sword on Lake Hylia, which, you know, he checked that almost an hour or almost 2 hours ago. It is possible. But he thankfully does not. So he'll be getting that here soon. Finalflame running out of magic and needs to use a blue potion to be able to take out Trinex.
Yeah, Finalflame, despite his name, is having a little trouble firing off those fire rod shots. Oh god, that was another one I just said.
So Dylan going to have a slight lead heading into the final dungeon they gotta do, with a potential for it to be a faster dungeon. But again, there is that sword difference to consider here.
Now, I'm trying to remember, did Meyer was Meyer the odd big key, or was it just stuck somewhere a little trolling?
I actually wasn't certain, but I just saw someone mention in chat that it was next to the big chest, so depending on routing, that could be relatively quick or about the slowest a Meyer can go.
Yeah, unfortunately, Meyer's one of those dungeons where go mode and full clear are pretty much the same thing. Though occasionally, Meyer, if you get the right chest, big key, where the big key could be, it could be really fast.
To answer this in chat, that's actually kind of the opposite of how that works. If that spike chest has a small key, then the big key is guaranteed vanilla. But big key could be vanilla even with no small key on the left side. So, routing wise here, he's gonna go do the bridge chest and the spike room chest as everyone does. The really important part is gonna be what comes after those two.
More than likely, he'll route in the big room chest, and then I think that's where things will go a little dicey.
True, and Dylan is making pretty quick work of Swamp here. He is almost certainly going to be, or well, he is definitely going to be the first one done with the dungeon, assuming he doesn't go back in to look for a sword, which I would very much not expect.
No, it looks like he's still looking for a sword if he's going down here. Too bad he won't actually find one.
He does get that compass though, so now he can find out where Argus is at.
And it looks like my prediction for Finalflame was wrong because he's deciding to go up north here to get this key, and most likely he's going to go down to the vanilla big key location. Oh, maybe I'm wrong again.
Yeah, there is a certain school of thought of kind of leaving that location alone and gambling that's not going to be the thing. But because that spike check chest can have a small key that tells you big key is there, checking it ASAP instead of routing out of there can be a nice little benefit.
And it looks like Finalflame is gonna check that small chest was near the big chest area, so he's gonna be on his way to victory soon.
Yep, so Dylan is going to have a slight lead heading up to Death Mountain to go to GT. But once they're in GT, Finalflame has a massive weapon advantage for the dungeon itself and for Ganon. And that's going to make things very interesting. Dylan having a little bit of trouble getting those silver arrows on Vitreous decides, I'm just going to do the spin strats. I've spent enough arrows on this.
And he gets it down. Now, since he has all his crystal nuggets, don't we have a little game that we have to play?
Yeah, we do. Everyone's favorite game in these races.
So, we got 22 chests in Ganon's tower. Went to that, I can't speak right now. If you're a supporter of speed gaming, whether by donating 250 bits or by being a subscriber, you will be put into our leaderboard for the big key guessing game. So again, 1 to 22. What do you usually pick on Nintendo?
I usually go for 22, just because I enjoy watching people full clear GT basement.
You and I are the same, to be quite honest.
Finalflame playing as Sonic, finally able to go fast.
Yeah, it took him quite a while to get those boots.
Yeah, today's guess of 22 comes with the added benefit of this freaking seed. 22 would just top it all off so wonderfully.
Oh yeah, and for me, I've got 4 wins on the leaderboard. They were all because of the guess of 22.
I'm honestly surprised there have been that many Tower Room Big Keys in just a few weeks.
Well, with roughly 512 races, sorry, 512, 256 races per week, there should be a good chance of it being a Tower Room.
That's true. That is true. So, Dylan is just through the TR portal, and Final is right behind him coming out of Paradox Cave. Right now, I would say that the time difference is pretty much in the realm of Master Sword versus Butter Sword Ganon.
Yeah, I agree. Finalflame with that Butter Sword could make up that time loss that he had doing the other checks.
So now there's a point to be made, I guess, since Dylan is the first one into GT right now. It will be the big key based on his count, even if Finalflame finds it first.
Okay, first 2 chests was bombs and the big 20s. Since no key, they're not going to go to the right side. They'll be forced onto the left.
Yeah, the right side play has become pretty standard. Now, it's interesting that Dylan chose not to grab that small key off the torch. that could complicate matters later. I know you want to let Bob live, but that could complicate your life a little bit later.
Yeah, I think that complicated one race yesterday afternoon, where the runner did not take that torch key and had to go back down.
Chests 3, 4, or 4, 5, 6, and 7 are not the big key. We do get another small key.
And we get the swag nets if you want to use that against Aghanim 2.
Definitely a risky gamble to make to use that unless you have practiced quite a bit with it. Half magic in the 8th chest there is quite a nice find.
It would have been nicer to have it before Ganon started, but figures can't be changers.
True. For Dylan, who's going to be stuck on Master Sword Ganon, though, that pretty much allows him to just cave spam through it, which is a pretty good benefit.
Yeah, especially since he filled 3 or 4 bars with the blue, and that's gotta be lame. We got the lane cane.
The laggiest item this side of the red meringue. So we're on to 10, 11, 12, and 13 here, if my count is up to date, right? And there is nothing there in Randomizer room, so it's off to visit our dear friend Bob and the Ice Armos. And he takes the time after sparing Bob's life to murder him.
Well, then again, Bob respawns elsewhere in the room, so it's not so bad.
That's true. He went through all that effort of leaving the key on the torch to keep Bob alive, and then he just goes and powders him anyway.
15 Bob got a break. Oh, 16s are big key, and 17s are full hearts.
Okay, so with that 16 for the big key, that puts Dylan heading up into the gauntlet first. He walks up the stairs to the Mimic Room at 2:13:13.
And congratulations to Kinghorn. You are our first sub or supporter to get the correct answer of 16.
Now, at this point in both of these runners' heads, you're assuming your opponent is going to be dot-dunning any moment now. Even with how this seed was, there's no way you're at 2 hours and 14 minutes, and you aren't just fully assuming that it's over.
Unfortunately, Chad's pointing this out. Dylan made a really bad mistake on this by skipping Bob's torch because he has no keys in his tower.
Yep, I actually just noticed that as people started to point out and you started to mention it. That he could get bailed out here, but that could decide the race.
Yeah, I have a feeling if he doesn't get bailed out, he's gonna feel sick to his stomach at the
Yeah, I mean, right now, judging by when they went up to the Mimic Rooms, there's less than a minute difference between these two. The sword alone could make that up with, equally clean Ganons on both sides. But if there is not a key upstairs, there is very, very little chance that something could happen that led to a victory coming out of it. And that's kind of why I said make sure to never skip that key there, is because there is an extra key in Ganon's dungeon if you don't open that middle door, but you're not guaranteed to get it before you start heading upstairs.
Yeah, especially since there were 5 more chests in the right side, so you don't want to play risks and think that, oh, you'll find another key in one of the other 3 chests. Or in the other 3 chests going up Ganon's tower.
And Dylan having a little bit of trouble with that ice room there. I'm curious if maybe he's noticed that he forgot a key and is kind of in very high concern level right now.
Meanwhile, Finalflame had a cleaner route to the gauntlet, but skips using the powder on the anti-fairy.
Yeah, he has definitely made up some of that time that he was behind heading upstairs. Although this Lambo fight is not going very cleanly for him.
And it looks like DarkDyllon has the wrong red item when he was going up to this Wizworld room because he was using Fire Rod shots by thinking about the red key.
Yeah, he's definitely, if he doesn't notice that small key, he is at the very least in the my opponent's almost done, I gotta go as fast as possible mode. And little things like that kind of slip by very easily in that situation. There is less than 2 full rooms separating these two currently.
And here's the moment of truth. Will one of these chests have another key?
10 arrows and a compass. There's 1 hope left.
Oh,
Oh,
no. Oh man, Dylan. He's probably kicking himself right now.
yeah, he just realized. And I hate to say it, but barring some crazy circumstances, that's gonna be the deciding factor in this race.
I'm approximating about 5 or 6, no, not even 5 or 6, but a lot of Ganon falls before Finalflame, for Finalflame to lose this race.
Yeah, where they were at that point, I would say Finalflame had a bit of an edge to begin with, just from Butter, but now it's almost, it would take a catastrophe. It would take something like a emulator crash.
Or a computer crash, which would be even worse.
Of course, Finalflame doesn't know what happened. He is still in sheer my opponent is almost done mode. So he does have a chance of having some sloppiness on Ganon. That was a very nice triple on Aga too, though.
Yeah, very nice triple. So that was 11301, I believe.
That sounds about accurate.
So now it's Finalflame's time to face off against the Big Pig. I wonder how fast he'll turn this pig into bacon.
With that butter to, grease the pot there, very quickly. Bet you didn't know you can't hum while holding your nose closed. Nice try, Ganon. So yeah, with butter, each phase 1 and 2 of Ganon only takes 6 slashes. so goes by very quick. Phase 3, always going to be 4 hits when he stops teleporting, and then 4 silver arrows for Phase 4.
Yeah, with that battle start, he just got to Phase 3. That was very quick.
Goes ahead and uses the blue potion now just to play it safe. With red mail, it would have taken a couple hits for him to really be in danger of death, but he at the very least was able to keep himself with a lot of safety.
Yeah, that was definitely a good idea since he just got hit by that fire bat. Fortunately, he had to skip out and do the torch bridge, but again, the silver arrows is not such a bad deal.
Lands a nice little silverless hit with the slash there on accident.
Misses the silver at that one point though. But he gets a double and Ganon is down. Put your GGs in chat. Finalflame has beaten Ganon.
Yep, and as soon as he walks through the door, we'll get you the official time for that.
Which was 2 hours, 21 minutes, and 21 seconds. Again, put your GGs in chat as Finalflame finish this race. This really trolly as heck race.
And I'm sure he's going to have some thoughts on that race, on that seed, so we'll be trying to get him in here for an interview here shortly.
Yeah, his official comment is, "Holy hell." And I'm not surprised that he would have that reaction, because yeah, this was a real trolly race.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun one to watch. As crazy as that seed got, as roundabout as everything was, it made it real fun. And Dylan has made very good time up the gauntlet to get back to Moldorm too. He will be on his way to Ganon soon. I do think that given the sword difference, he probably would have still had a tough time coming out in front, but I know it's gotta hurt for him to feel like that was the reason why things went south. And we are joined by our winner, Finalflame. GG, sir.
Thank you. What a seed.
Yes, what a seed. That was crazy for both of you guys.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of enjoyed it. Although, you know, shoutouts to the lying uncle at the start of the game saying it's guaranteed to take sub 2 hours.
Yeah, this was a fitting seed for him to make that comment on, wasn't it?
I don't know if sub 2 is possible for me. I'm sure for good players it is, but where my execution is and where the items were, like, this was almost a literal hundo.
Yeah, every item was like in all these faraway one-off locations between the catfish having the cane of Samaria, and the Zora had the fire rod, and then pedestal had the mirror. It's just like,
oh, that pedestal. I don't know what made me decide to check it when I did, and I'm so glad. I may have slammed my hand down on my chair screaming no. I was a little bit mad.
So one of the key differences between you and Dylan's run was that pedestal check, and Catfish. Dylan went to Catfish pretty early, got the Cane of Samaria, opened up a lot of stuff for him, going through TR, going through Meyer. You, meanwhile, got the information about the pedestal, got your mirror, opened up Swamp and all that stuff, and you entered GT within a minute of each other. Dylan had an unfortunate key forgetting incident that made this seem farther than it actually was.
How? What did he forget?
He didn't bonk the key off Bob's torch.
Oh no, and so he went up with 0 keys.
Yep. It was.
'Cause I forgot to check my key count before I went up, and when I got to the Helmasaur room, I looked and went, oh good, I had a key. Let me get the key from these. I'm good. So I got kind of lucky on that.
Yeah, he was ever so slightly ahead of you, but he's still on Master Sword. I don't think it would have changed the outcome of the race because of that, but...
Yeah, Finalflame didn't check Pyramid, Fairy, or Haunted Grove Ledge because you were still looking for bombos, and that actually helped you quite a fair bit because you got those swords, and he unfortunately did. He was pretty much on go mode once he found out it was pedestal.
So yeah, I got kind of lucky on that. And then I could have skipped some of the last overall checks I did and gone straight to T-Rock. But for some reason, even though I knew I needed bombos for Meyer, I also had it in my mind that Meyer was the other dungeon I could do. So I put off T-Rock longer than I meant to.
So on a tournament side of things, you are now at 3-2. You have staved off reaching that likely elimination point of 3 losses. How do you feel going into a couple more weeks of potential do-or-die type matches?
A little bit surprised that going into week 6, I still have a chance, honestly. From here, though, I mean, the opponents I'm going to be facing are probably going to end up being a lot better than me. And so I'm a little worried in that, but I just got to do what I can and hope I make the right checks for a change.
But sorry to interrupt, but DarkDyllon just finished his race with an official Speed Racing TV time of 2 hours, 26:34 seconds. Get your GGs in chat while I drag DarkDyllon to the commentary. And there you go. The GG's, DarkDyllon.
Right, GG.
GG. What a seed.
Oh my god. Bob is gonna die for the rest of his life.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, we were letting final in. You had a little bit of a lead, but when you realized that you forgot the key. But Final had Butter Sword, you had Master, and it was less than a minute of difference. So if it makes you feel any better, it might not have changed anything.
Wait, where were the Sword Upgrades then?
Pyramid Fairy and South of Grove.
Yeah, okay. Could have gotten at least one Sword Upgrade, but yeah.
Yeah, by the time you got the mirror, you're pretty much in go mode, so I'm not surprised that you kind of decided, well, finish Swamp and then go off to Ganon's Tower.
No, Silver's Master Sword Ganon isn't really that bad. Like, it's only 32 spins.
At least it wasn't silverless.
Thank for that.
I do want to give shout outs to both of you guys. You put on a fantastic show here today. I was filling Finalflame in, but Dylan, you found that Cane of Samaria super early. Final found out about the pedestal super early. It led you guys in 2 completely different directions, and by the time you got to GT, it was less than a minute difference between you guys, so it was real fun to watch.
Yeah, I had like a few choices. Like, I got I powder and mushroom at one point, so I could make that play, or I could like go to Desert Palace and Eastern Palace and just check those. Or I can go to the pedestal. See that lovely reflection message.
Yeah, I told him I kind of slammed my hand down on the chair when I saw that. This I think was only my 2nd pedestal seed I've ever played.
I played a few pedestal seeds before, but like they always catch you off guard. Like, you either check them really early, or you check them way too late.
Yeah, I don't know why I checked it when I did. I had just gotten the fire rod when I was searching for the flute, knowing it was available. And at that point, it's I'm 1 item from Pet. Fine, I'll go check because I can't mirror from Skull. And well, now I know why I couldn't mirror from Skull. And that really just made it awkward routing for me because, I couldn't do the pod eastern combo, I couldn't check Mire area and then do desert because I needed the mirror to do all of that.
Yeah, I completely forgot that Ice Palace was open to me at one point until I think I wanted to do Desert. Then it was like, yeah, I'm gonna grab the purple chest. So I grabbed the purple chest, saving grid, and while I was walking towards the guy for the purple chest, I was like, Ice Palace is open.
Yeah, I did the purple chest route without the mirror, and the entire time I'm doing it, I'm going, I know this is the wrong play. Chat's probably laughing, he's probably taking a good lead, but what more can I do? Because just everything I had left was one-off locations or places I'd already gone.
It was amazing. Like I took the frog for like a world tour, basically. Like I grabbed the frog, did everything before the frog, grabbed the frog, and then went all the way like from the bottom, like South Dark World to Catfish.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad I delayed Catfish now, because who knows how I would have done without that. I enjoyed my swords. Me and Master Sword don't go well together, I'll admit it.
Oh, that was such a troll seeing like a sword upgrade, like the Master Sword on top of Lake Hyla. Like,
taunting you the entire time, like, I'm up here, come and get me, oh wait.
I was like, when is the mirror finally gonna pop up? Then I'm instantly gonna grab that.
Yeah, I made sure to get that right away, I was not going to forget.
But at the same time, like, when I saw, like, Flute in the first chat of Ice Palace, I was kind of hoping you would be like, you know what? Like, screw this, it's in the...
Funny thing, I would have bailed from Ice Palace if I hadn't checked Ped first, because I was searching for the Flute. I had sequence broke Death Mountain and found the lamp, and so at that point it changed my whole game, going, okay, I want this Flute, where is it? Which is why I did the routing I did. But had I not checked Pedestal before then, because I got Fire Rod, I'd have bailed out of there and probably lost the race.
Like that was the only comfort I could actually bring myself, thinking that I might actually be ahead at that point. Just overall execution was like garbage for me.
Honestly, I enjoyed the seed. Maybe not the length of it, and Uncle guaranteeing that sub too, but it was pretty fun to play.
Also, by the way, that Doodle Rock D's, I actually played on it. Went through the entirety of Doodle Rock and nothing to show for it. It was painful.
I mean, even in Go mode, once I hit Go mode, it's still to clear out most of Turtle Rock, so either way, yeah, I did almost full clear.
Yeah, but Fighter Sword Doodle Rock is never fun.
Yeah, okay. Fair point. I had butter.
Like literally, I finished with Master Sword to begin with, and it's like really, like it was in the back of my mind to go to Fat Fairy, and it's like, well, I'm in Go mode right now. You know what? Screw it. I'm going.
It's funny, looking at my tracker, the only two things missing are Aga, which I thought super early after getting that cape, maybe I'll have to do this, and the Bloomerang, which there was no reason for me to pick that up. Everything else is clicked.
Yeah, same. Like, except for maybe, Mirror Shield. But damn, wow. Just wow, that seed. It gave you some leeway in the very beginning, and after that leeway, it's like...
Oh, the beginning was great. We were getting everything.
Just search for whatever you need. Like, you're not gonna get it.
Nope.
It was amazing.
It was.
Yeah, especially when you found out pretty late that Zora had the Fire Rod.
Oh.
To be honest, like I saw Zora, or at least I didn't saw Zora, but like I first went to Zora with flippers, but I didn't have enough money, so that was
same. And it ended up being for me one of the last places I went to. And then when I got the Fire Rod is when I went, okay, I'm heading towards the pedestal. I'll go check it.
I was more like, I got the money now. Like the only locations I really have are like one-off locations. You know what? Screw it. Like Zora has had quite a bit of things like in the past for me, so let's go for it. And it was like the Fire Rod. Like, oh my god, no actual skill level available.
And sorry to chat for my hilarious antics in Ice Palace. I went to do the bomb jump, did it once, failed, realized, oh yeah, fighter sword, I have to change my standing, and spent a bar and a half of health compensating the wrong direction before I went to hit the switch, give up, and then realized, duh, wrong way! I'm so glad I bought a bunch of potions going into there.
Thankfully, I used the shadow for reference points.
See, I always use Link's sword, and with the fighter sword, you have to remember there's one less pixel, and I remembered it and just went the wrong way with it. At least I realized, because Ice Palace is a pain to do normally.
To be honest, I don't even know the route through back of Ice Palace.
I don't know off the top of my head without just going way out of my way.
Like, I know the bomb jump way, and like as soon if you take me away from the bomb jump thing, it's like okay, I know I need a key at one point.
Yeah. Well, it was fun.
Yeah, it was a seed and then some. What was your final item collection rate?
180.
175.
I don't think I've seen one that high before, except maybe Key Sanity.
No, don't remind me of that. Going near 200 for item collection. Still, this line from Key Sanity, see if you think about it.
Yeah, I was thinking about it.
Well, I'm sure Chad at least enjoyed it. Like the numerous fails that both of us produced.
I opened up chat 5 minutes ago, and they seem to have enjoyed the race, so I'll be watching this one back.
Yeah.
But first, I really need to grab lunch because I am starving.
Yeah, I haven't had dinner yet. Like nearly 7 p.m. here.
So, commentators, I think we're going to leave this to you now.
Yeah, thanks for everything. Commentators, free streams, tracker.
Yes.
It's good, and thank you guys again for a fantastic race. Like I said, it was a real fun one to watch. And that was a nice little conversation you guys had going. We didn't really have to jump in all that much to get some good talk out of you guys.
We
So
can do our own interview, why not?
We don't need the commentators for the interview.
So, with that said, if you guys in chat enjoyed this race as much as I did on the commentary side, please give these two a follow. They both put on a great show for us today. Other than that, general shout out to my co-commentator Seryu, as well as our tracker FazeBro. As usual, if you like what you see here, feel free to follow the Speed Gaming network of channels. 1 through 5, as well as a link to the ALTTP Randomizer 1 through 4, where there is a lot of rando going on constantly for this tournament.
I believe Speed Gaming is up to 6 right now. We haven't really used the 6th one that much.
Ah, this is true. I forgot that one had launched by now.
Don't worry, you're tired from work. I'm tired from not sleeping and not having lunch yet, so that's cool. I think it's time we should probably get going in that case.
I was just going to pop up the schedule to point out if there were any races about going on, and I accidentally closed my browser that had the schedule open.
Whoops. Let me refresh my schedule. Okay, we have Space Cowboy 2011 and versus Chelsea X Lin on Speed Gaming 1 going on right now. In 15 minutes, we have Katata versus Berenzen and Speed Gaming 3. 2 o'clock we'll have at Speed Gaming 4 will be Bosscraft versus Glenn. And then our own tracker FazeBro will be facing off against Now in Speed Gaming 1 at 3 o'clock. We have a lot of races today.
Yeah, I hope for Facebook he doesn't get like the trolls like we did.
Yeah, with that on my end at least, thank everyone for watching, and I'm going to go get some sleep. So have a good day, everyone.
See you guys.
Laters all.